I am launching a brand new mentalism masterclass on my membership right here on the channel. There are these staple books in mentalism, but they don't get as much attention. And one of those books is called Practical Mental Magic by Theodore Anneman. But I understand that not everyone is a huge reader, and a lot of people struggle learning from books. So I am gonna break down every single page, every move, every subtlety, every routine on video every single month from this book. Now, if you're someone who likes cards and wants to get into mentalism, or you're just a card worker, or you're a mentalist, experienced or inexperienced, this is the course for you. There are over 200 routines that you'll be learning in this course. I'll be teaching my variations, my handlings, and my key tips, including tips to update these into the 21st century. Now, this membership will be getting a minimum of 2 exclusive videos every single month, and there are already 5 videos up there right now, including one of my favorite effects in this entire book. To get access to these videos, you have to join the second tier of my membership. You're gonna learn some incredible effects. What is good, guys? It is Reed, and welcome back to another video. We got How to Make Your Magic Better, episode 18, which is all about surprise in magic. Now, if there's any topic that we've covered in this series that is gonna help you get better reactions, besides the How to Get Better Reactions video, if you haven't already checked that out, make sure you do. But this video is going to help so much with helping you get better reactions from your magic and making your performances stronger. That's one of the things we live for in magic, how to get better reactions. In this video, all about surprise in magic, you're gonna learn about one of the most important concepts in improving your magic and your reactions, and how you can use this coupled with some various tools to enhance even the simplest effect into the most powerful effect. Grab your cards, grab a notebook, and get ready to learn all about surprise in magic. Before we jump into the video, guys, if you would like to check out some private lessons, you can at the link below. If you'd like any help with your magic or mentalism, that is the place to go to get one-on-one help from me. And if you want to help support the channel for just the cost of a coffee every month, you can go join the fairy tier of the memberships on the membership tab and just really help support me and the work that I do here on the channel. But with all that said, guys, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into the video. So surprise in magic, what is it and what do I mean when I talk about surprise in magic? Surprise in magic is the concept of not telegraphing the endings of your routine, not telegraphing certain moves, not telegraphing where the routine's going, and making the moments of magic a surprise to your audience. Now, there are plenty of things that the topic of surprise in magic can pertain to. It can be surprise in terms of where your trick is going and what's going to happen at different phases of your trick. It can be a surprise ending. It can even be surprise with what you say and the moves that you do and how you present the routine. So some of the ways that this can be achieved is through keeping your presentations ambiguous, not forecasting your endings, and keeping everything sort of fresh as to what's going to come with your routines. Now, more importantly, why is all of this important? Why is the idea of having surprise in your magic, whether that's your character or your performance or the actual effect itself, why is that important? One of the biggest reasons, and probably the reason a lot of you guys are watching this video, is because it helps you get better reactions. Reactions are something that's super important in all of our magic performances, and something that we all as magicians are always striving to improve, because not only does it enhance the performance, but it's also like feedback that we did a good job and that the spectators were entertained, and it also makes for a good showing for the rest of the audience to see people reacting well to your magic. Especially if you're someone like me who's filming and putting it on the internet, you want good reactions because it just shows that it was a good performance, right? The better the reaction, the better the presumed performance was. Now, surprise is an element that is extremely well correlated to your reactions. If you think of an example of doing a double lift, if you tell someone, hey, I'm gonna show you a card, I'm gonna turn it over, I'm gonna put it in your hand, it's gonna change, and now you do it, and you say, look, here's a card, turn it over, put it in your hand, and look, it changed. They might be like, wow, do that again. But now if you say, hey, look, this is your card, right? You signed it, and here, hold on to that for a second. And now you go through a little presentation, and then you say, watch, and incredibly, now your card is gonna change just like that. And that's the first time they hear about it. Their instant reaction is now to check, and all of those emotions are gonna settle in at once. If you tell them early on, and they have time to think about it, and then when it actually happens at the end, they've already processed a bunch of those emotions internally, and so that final reaction will just be the outcome and the final little bit of, wow, it actually happened. It won't be all the, how is he going to do that? Is that possible? That would be crazy. All these other thoughts that they're going to process in their mind internally are now going to be externally, in a lot of cases, visible, and they're all going to hit at once, causing for that surprise and that, reaction. Surprise is also an emotion, right? And if you think about what good reactions often look like in magic, it's that kind of emotion, right? It's that amazement, it's that surprise. Their amazement and surprise are very much tied together, and thus surprise and reactions in magic are very much tied together. Reaction can often be mistaken for surprise. And if you really ask yourself, what is a reaction at the end of the day? It's often a combination of joy, wonder, and surprise. Also, surprise actually allows you to save effects, in the sense that if you keep your magic a surprise and you keep your performances and effects a surprise, it's going to help you save effects when they go wrong, because no one's going to know where the effect is going, and now you can save it because you had the element of surprise in your performance. Now, these are key things that are really important to think about when you're devising routines, writing scripts, and deciding on your pattern. Also, it is very entertaining, right? Surprise is a great element of entertainment that's going to make our magic fun and help elevate our magic performance all around. Also, the element of shock that you get is very much correlated with reaction, and is something that we should all be striving for. Now let's talk a little bit about how to do it, how to improve the element of surprise in your magic, and some different techniques that you should think about. Quick pause in your regularly scheduled program. I just wanted to quickly announce that I will be hosting another exclusive group lesson at this date and time right here. Now, if you don't know how the lessons work, every participant gets their own 10-minute exclusive block to talk one-on-one with me, where I can answer any questions they have card magic mentalism related. I can critique your sleights and effects, help you with effects, or any other questions you might have. Not only that, you get to watch the entire lesson and learn from all the different questions and subtleties and effects that I might go over while answering everyone else's questions. And to top it all off, at the end of every lesson, there is a bonus 20-30 minute jam session where you jam with myself and all the other attendees. You get more opportunities to ask questions, and sometimes you even get some incredible bonus effects that I teach that I haven't taught anywhere else. Now, if you are interested in the next group lesson, make sure to go sign up at the link in the description. There are only 10 spots available, so spots will fill up quickly, so make sure you jump on it, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next lesson. Well, first things first, it's very simple. Don't tell them what you're gonna do. Now, I have made a video in my How to Make Your Magic Better series about stating the obvious and why that is so important. Yes, you should state the obvious in a lot of cases in your magic. What do I mean by that? Saying, I'm going to give the cards a shuffle, saying I'm going to cut the cards, all these things, while to a lot of magicians, and the advice you often hear is don't, just narrate what you're doing. You actually should in a lot of cases, and my opinion is very much against the grain in that. And you can go watch that video to figure out all of my reasoning, but I think it's just a super important element to having better reactions and performing good magic. And I'll quickly explain this with a quick example, but if you want the whole breakdown, go check out that video. But essentially, if you think of an A-can, to magicians, a super clean A-can is one of the most exciting effects for us to see, right? We'd have great reactions to that. To a layman, A-can is generally considered, the consensus in the magic world is it's a boring effect. Why is that? It's because there's a missing link between the magicians and the spectators, which is a link of knowledge. We have knowledge that they lack. It's a lack of knowledge, which is why we find it more impressive, because of our knowledge of magic. So our goal when performing an A-can to an audience should be to get them to understand why A-can is so impressive from a magician's perspective. And how you do that is saying, think about it. You as a magician, it comes obvious to us. If we shuffle the cards, that means there can't be a stack. But to a layman who doesn't know this, you need to make it painfully obvious. Hey, I'm going to shuffle the deck now, so they're in no order that anyone could have known, right? It's the same as saying it's a stack, but it's important to verbalize these things so that they understand. I'm going to mix the deck now. Look, you shuffled the deck. You named any card. You could have named any card, so it's not in my control. I'm basically just telling them there's no force, right? The same things we would say as a magician, you need to say to your audience, but you just say it in a different way, and that's often done through narrating these obvious things that you're doing. I rest my case. Back to the point of this video. Now, the reason I brought that up is because I want you to understand the difference when I say don't say too much about your trick. And all I mean by that is don't give away what's going to happen. In almost all magic, there are some effects where it is more powerful to reveal the ending before it happens, but in the majority of magic, it is better to be kept a secret. So pretty much just don't telegraph what's going to happen at the end of your effect. There's no need to say it. Keep that element of surprise and surprise them. Continue to state the obvious while you're doing it, but don't telegraph the ending. Another key thing that you can do is work on your scripting. Think of your scripting like a story that your audience is going to perceive. That is your way to manipulate the audience's perspective on the effect, to manipulate how the audience is going to interpret your magic. So if you do a double lift and you want them to interpret it as a magical transformation of the card in their hand, you can do that by your scripting. If you want them to believe it is a transposition of two cards, you can do that in your scripting. If you want them to believe it's a sleight of hand switch, you can do that with your scripting, all depending on what you tell them. So we can make our magic surprising or lack surprise through simply our scripting. And some key points to think about: don't telegraph your ending, and don't say at the beginning, okay, I'm gonna make a card switch now, right? That's not good practice in most effects. Think about that. Think about the things that you say as you say them and how you're gonna say them, as to not give away too much, right? If I say, look, I have one card here and one card here, and I'm gonna put one card here and one card here, and incredibly something's gonna happen between them in a moment, and I just have two cards set down on the table, and I say that scripting, it's a very bland script, but even though I didn't tell you what's gonna happen, I think most people, from seeing two cards beside each other, get the idea that they're gonna switch, right? If you think about the simple transposition effect, or the kind of here then there, where you simply do two double lifts with a duplicate and the card switches, that is an effect that can be easily telegraphed, right? You say, look, here's your card, you've signed it, you hold on to that. Now I'm gonna take the next card and I'm gonna hold on to it. If not careful in how you present that, it can be very much telegraphed what's gonna happen, and I think it's obviously a better effect when they don't understand what's gonna happen in the future. And the reason for that is, if they know the switch is going to happen when you hand them their card, one, they're going to be more inclined to take a peek at that card and see that it's already been switched. And two, they're going to feel like the switch is happening, obviously, when you give it to them. And now it's going to be, oh, he just switched the cards when it was in my hand. But if you keep it a surprise, now think of that effect from the spectator's perspective. You hand them a card, they're now positive. There's no heat on that moment when you execute the double and switch the card. They're convinced that's their card. And then you take the next card, they're convinced that's the card. So now the image, the story in their mind is they have their card 100%, you have your card 100%, and the beauty is the work is already done. You just have to present it like now that we're each 5 feet away, now that we each have our card, I'm gonna make them switch like that, and that is where you can create true magic within the surprise of the pattern. The overarching, kind of message with all of these tips is that leave the ending a secret as best as you can. Now, other ways to kind of have surprise is to be original and do something different, and that can be in terms of your scripting and your presentation, or the effects that you perform. It can be effects that you've taken and adapted. It can be completely brand new original effects you've created, but these are some great ways to keep surprise in your magic. When a lot of magicians, we fall into doing the same types of tricks as every other magician, and while that is totally fine, and I'm not against that at all, because the reason that a lot of us do these tricks is because they work so well, they're practical, they're road tested, they're workers, that's why we do them, and it makes sense. But if you want to kind of guarantee surprise, an element there that you can do to really guarantee that is to perform and work in some originality into either the effects or the presentation. Because you think about it, people start to know some of those classics. If you think about the rabbit out of the hat, no one does that anymore. Yes, it's corny, but also if you bring a top hat around, everyone knows exactly what's coming next, right? Same thing with some of our more popular effects. Double cross is starting, people know, hey, can you do the trick with the X on my hand? The find a card trick. When you have someone pick a card, they say, oh, you're gonna find my card now. So doing different things that people haven't seen, triumphs or, kind of different effects like that people don't see as often is good. But it's even better if you can do truly original pieces. Every time I perform an original effect of mine, like roller coaster, like character, like mind games, like mental image, go check that out if you want to learn it. One of the best effects I've taught on the channel. But all of these effects I know is going to get a good reaction because they have no idea what's coming, because these effects are unique, original, and even if they've seen a magician before, they'll have never seen this effect. Right? So that's like an important thing to consider. And you can do that even with just your presentation. Hey, maybe they've seen this trick before, but they won't see it coming because my presentation is different. They won't see it coming because I'm going to perform it differently and it's going to feel like a totally different effect. And finally, you can really kind of help with this moment of surprise by just not saying that what you're doing is magic. And now a lot of cases, obviously this isn't going to work if you're paid to do a gig or whatever, but if you have the opportunity to just say, hey, can I show you guys something cool, and just get right into your performance, they won't even have time to think about what's going on. And it's kind of a decent, like, you know, you're using the element of surprise to then show them a magic trick, which is kind of cool. And in some cases, not, you know, necessarily saying like what I do is magic, or I'm going to show you a magic trick, but just let me show you something cool. I don't really know how this happens kind of situation can be even better. Now let's talk about a few examples of surprise. Now the first example I want to bring up is actually a new product by Craig Petty that is recently coming out. It's his new effect called Magic Button. And I want to tell you about the story of me watching this trailer and him perform it for the first time. So he recently put out a fairly long video kind of detailing everything going on with this red button effect and doing some performances and that sort of thing. I happened to watch it one day. I like watching Craig's video and I was curious to see what this magic button thing was. I think walking you through my thought process would be very valuable to understand this video. When I first saw him perform it, I instantly knew what it was and what's going on. I knew, hey, this is going to be a deck of cards basically full of gimmicks or specially printed cards. And for me, that was an instant no. This is not something that I want to rely on or want to perform because it's not for me. The first time I watched the main routine through, my first impression was the sense of like, oh, that was okay. That was kind of underwhelming because at first it felt to me like, oh, this is a double lift, this is a control, it's a switch, it's an effect that we all do kind of just in different ways, and this just has a different little presentation on it. It's a transposition mixed with a, you know, find me your card mixed with an ambitious card. You know, that's kind of what it felt like to me, and that's the impression I got. But then I took a step back and I caught myself kind of thinking like a magician, right? Something I've talked about, how to cure your magician brain. Highly recommend you check that out. But essentially, I realized, hey, I am thinking about this a bit too much as a magician. And while the main premise of this effect is kind of like an ACR mixed with the transposition type of deal, the element of surprise in this effect is absolutely killer. You can see from watching the performance how big of a surprise and how much they will never see. No matter how inquisitive your spectators are, they'll never see that ending coming. The way it's presented, the way it's done. Now honestly, the strength of just that element of surprise is absolutely incredible. It's essentially taken the transposition, which I talked about being kind of difficult to disguise in certain situations. It kind of is a bit telegraphed sometimes, and it completely makes that impossible to realize what's going to happen. And that element of surprise is what makes that such a strong effect. Simple, you know, fairly easy to do, simple sleights, but a killer effect because of how much of a surprise it is, to the point where me, and you guys know I've made 400 videos on this channel talking about my philosophies of magic and how light of a packer I am when it comes to my everyday carry. I don't want gimmicks. I just want a regular deck of cards, and I want sleight of hand, and I want a Sharpie, and I want my phone, right? And so I don't do so much magic because of gimmicks. There's one effect that I do with a gimmick card, and you know, it's that face-off effect. I can easily construct some gimmicks and throw them, you know, in the deck box as well, and I'm cool. But with this effect, I am seriously considering pulling the trigger on this. It's nothing like anything I would ever normally buy, but that element of surprise was just so impactful. As corny as I kind of find a little bit of the presentation, I think there's a lot of room for it to be played with, that I can really enhance that moment. I can really enhance that surprise and take that absolutely to the next level because it has so much potential. Even just being such a super simple gimmick and idea, absolutely great. Craig Petty, love the idea. And I think that's a great example of how much surprise can really take an effect that's simple, and especially from a magician's mind simple, but really be incredible and get amazing reactions from your audience. Another example is my effect J30 can, which is an interesting name. I know it looks better when you spell it out, but that's my sort of thought of a can, where they create a card and then they think of a number. It's never said out loud. Spectator deals, and I've performed that a few times. I'll link a performance up here if you want to check it out. But at the ending, I finish with a tattoo reveal. So at the end, I say, look, you picked any number, you picked any card, and then I reveal that I have the number and the card tattooed on my finger here. That element of surprise is absolutely killer. It's an A can, but that surprise element just makes it one of the best effects I do. I often close with it just because of how powerful it is. Another example is something like a triumph. Again, I feel the idea of mixing all the cards face up, face down. They generally don't see that ending of everything being fixed coming, unless you say, how fast do you think it would take me to fix these cards, right? That's why if you watch me perform it, I almost never use that line. It's more of a, look through the deck, where's your card, while I'm, doing my cull, getting everything ready. And I say, look, your card might be here, it might be here, but I want you to hold on to that deck for a second. And now the work's done. They've never even considered that all the cards are gonna change. Now I'll introduce that idea. At the end, once the deck is out of my hands, right guys, that's the important message. Wait until the work is done, the deck is out of your hands as best you can before you bring up what's gonna happen. Because once that deck in Triumph is in their hands, and that idea is in their head, it's the first time they've processed all of this. But they're convinced already that that deck is mixed face up, face down, because I've never even put the idea out there that it's gonna fix itself. So in their mind, it is a messed up deck in their hand. They're 100% sure. So now when I bring it up, they say, well, there's no way you can do that if you don't touch it, right? And you see how that's gonna make our magic much stronger, just by using that element of surprise. And finally, I'm gonna insert a little clip here of an effect I call a roller coaster. And the key with this performance that I want you to pay attention to is, one, how the ending is not telegraphed at all, and it comes as a major surprise when the card that was placed, under the phone or in the other spectator's pocket ends up being the original selected card. It is absolutely not telegraphed, and that's because of that moment where they name a card that everyone thinks is vanished from the deck, but ends up being there, and it's that it screws with their head, and it really helps to hide what's actually going to happen. And watch how one of the spectators actually realizes, once it clicks in his head, what's going to happen before everyone else, and he's like, oh my god, he got us, like he played us, he got us, like we all got sucked in, and he was amazed by that. And just that, he's basically amazed at the element of surprise. He's amazed that I was able to pull that off without anyone realizing it before I even revealed that it happened. So it's a great demonstration in the element of surprise, so I'll let you watch that clip now. So take one out, and I want you to sign it, and you can show everyone. Don't show me. Put your name on it, or draw a picture, whatever you want. All right, just put it there for me, and I will just make sure you guys see it, right? That's the one. One last time.
What was it? I kind of forget the number. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do, so magicians do this thing, right? And it kind of annoys me. They will say, did you feel the magic happen? Imagine a situation when I just put a card in your hand and I was like, I'm gonna make that vanish. Imagine, you don't have to do it right now, but imagine your eyes were closed. And I was like, I'm gonna make that card vanish. And you feel that, you don't feel anything. And then you open your eyes and the card is gone. That would be very impressive. Now, if we do that again, and I said I'm gonna make the card vanish, and you feel this, would that be very impressive when you open your eyes, right? Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing sometimes to say, did you feel that? I'm gonna try to get this deck of cards to do something pretty crazy. And everyone else is gonna see how this happens, okay? Hopefully. So hold out your hand. Let's do your other hand. I think that'll probably work better. Yeah, perfect. And, okay, you're gonna take your other hand on top just like that, okay? And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place the deck in your hand, okay? Yeah, let's do like that. And you're gonna just kind of protect it. Let's go like this, just like that. And you're gonna close your eyes now. So keep your eyes closed, and you cannot open them for any reason.
Am I supposed to be touching
just no, just like that. Keep your eyes closed. Now what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to flip this deck over, okay? All of the entire deck without you feeling a thing. Well, that's the goal, at least. That's the goal, okay? So keep your eyes closed. Okay, and just slowly just pulse your hand just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit.
Both?
Yeah, just the top one. Just the top one's fine. Okay. Okay, it's Okay, we can't quite see if it's working. Just move your hand for a sec. I want to see if it's working. Okay, I don't think it's worked yet. Okay, put your hand a little lower. Okay, do you see it working now, guys? You see it working? You see it working? Okay, starting to work. Okay, just keep going, keep going. Just keep going. Okay, keep trying. Okay. Okay, I think it's working. Do you guys see it? You guys see it working?
Yeah.
It's starting to work. It's starting to flip. It's starting to flip. Okay, I think it worked. Okay, move your hand. Let's see. Okay, open your eyes. Look.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? Look, spread through.
Whoa! I do feel a thing.
And it's all flipped. That's so weird, right?
It's crazy.
Now, I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to make one card vanish from that deck. Okay, one card. That could be any card that you name. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yanni, name any card you want. Any card you want.
8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
That was a free choice.
Absolutely.
Take a look. Look for the 8 of diamonds.
Oh, that was good.
Oh. Sasha?
I don't see it. 8 of diamonds. Whoa,
Look.
it's gone. Oh, 8 of diamonds?
8 of diamonds.
So bad.
No, it's there.
Wait, it's actually there? Oh.
So
Wait, what
hold
the
on.
fuck?
You just looked up. Wait, what do you mean?
So Ashley, you picked a card at the beginning, right?
Yes, I did.
What if I could make that card disappear?
I know, I was
What if I
looking
could
up.
make that card disappear
That'd be
and
amazing.
appear somewhere I haven't been anywhere near? Watch, I'm gonna make that card appear underneath her phone.
There's no fucking way.
There's a card underneath her phone.
Wait.
And what was the card you picked at the very beginning?
9 of clubs.
Oh, fuck you.
There's no way.
Sorry,
no.
but
You got fucking
So hopefully now you can see what I was talking about, how he kind of calls out that moment of surprise, and how using surprise, not only because the method is not telegraphed, but how you can actually see a pure example of how a surprise enhances those reactions at the end. So I want to end this video by talking about how you can improve sort of your surprise in Magic. First of all, practice your scripting like I talk about. Start to think about your scripting a little better, maybe write out some scripting and that sort of thing, and just really think about how you want to pull this stuff off and how you want to keep your surprise hidden. Look at the sentences, the words you use, and think, hey, am I telegraphing anything? Am I making this obvious? That's key. Another thing is recap. Be careful with your recapping, right? Don't recap too early, where you are exposing what the effect is too early, and oftentimes the moment to recap is once the work is done and once everything's out of your hand. That's the best time where you can kind of hint at what's coming and recap everything. So be careful with your recapping, don't do it too early, and don't be too obvious when you do it. And make sure you illustrate properly what's happened in the effect so you can actually reframe that effect the way you want it to be. And finally, my last piece of advice, start at episode 1 of How to Make Your Magic Better and watch all the way till episode 18, because this series will help you in all kinds of different ways when it comes to theory with making your magic better. I have a video on how to get better reactions, which will be very helpful. I have a video on audience management and approaching audiences and scripting and patter and all these things. So I'd highly recommend you checking that out, and that'll all help tie everything together so you can become a better magician. Alright guys, well that is it for How to Make Your Magic Better episode 18. I hope you absolutely loved this video. This has actually been one of my favorite videos in this series. I don't know if I say that every time. I feel like I might, but I truly feel at the end of every time I'm recording these videos that they each just keep getting better and better, and I'm super happy with this. So hopefully you learned a thing or two. If you'd like to see more videos like this breaking down theory and how to make your magic better, make sure you drop me a comment, like this video, and give it a share. As always, if you'd like to check out some private lessons, you can at the link below, or some channel memberships. You can check out those on the membership tabs, and they're also linked in the description. But with all that said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.